Hi, I'm Mary Moody. I'm the General Counsel for the Board of Regents. And since my name was invoked earlier, I just wanted to make it clear that I agree with both chiefs that arming faculty and staff is not a good idea. But I did work with Senator Bell and will continue to work with Representative Holt and Senator Bell on the amendment, because if passage of the bill is inevitable, there were certain exposure to liability issues that, as a lawyer, I saw for our institutions. And I thought it was interesting when you all were discussing the bill that would have allowed community corrections officers to carry guns, that you were reluctant to pass that because they weren't post-certified. None of the faculty and staff who are going to be carrying guns under this bill will be post-certified. They're just average citizens who have carry permits and have no special training. And so we're concerned about their reactions in critical situations like active shooters, but what I'm really concerned about is what's really more likely to happen, which is the accidental discharge, the stealing of somebody's gun who's brought it to campus. So assuming that we never have an active shooter situation, there are lots of exposure for us if we didn't have the protections that they've now put in the bill in terms of immunity and requirements that make it clear for, the state has sovereign immunity and we as state institutions have sovereign immunity, except to the extent that that's been waived by 98307, which is the statute that allows people to sue the state or state agencies for monetary damages. And if you don't fall within one of those categories, then you can't sue us, but people get real creative. I'm a lawyer, but lawyers get creative. And so there was a concern that by not being specific enough, we might give the opportunity to somebody to argue that you'd waive that immunity. And we're working with the Attorney General's office to come up with some language, and we think we've got some to substitute for Section D. And I think we're going to be good there if the bill moves along. The other concern we had, which is why there's language in there about them doing this in their personal capacity and not as an employee, is for the issue that you raised a little while ago with the other bill, which is once these professors start carrying, they're carrying under color of this law. And there was room for a creative plaintiff's lawyer to make an argument that if they used the gun, they may have acted with excessive force under color of state law. And we do not want to be responsible for that. And there's individual liability for the employee under 1983. So some of the provisions of the amendment are intended to make it clear that they're just a private citizen and there wouldn't be any 1983 liability for them if they use their guns under this. But I just wanted to make clear that I too support the position that our campuses are safer without any additional guns. But if they're going to be, if it's the will of the legislature to allow the guns to be there, we need the amendment to provide for adequate protection for the institutions. If anybody's got any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them.
Chairman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for coming. And I think we were all a little startled that we didn't. This chairman's probably the most courteous in the building, and
it's been a long day. I understand.
Well, have we known that? And so I don't want any of you all to take that as any sign of disrespect. And so I appreciate your speaking up. Is it your position that any state law that authorizes a gun creates Section 1983 liability?
I wouldn't go so far as to say that. It depends it depends on the language of the bill and the legislative history. And what I know is that every time this bill is discussed, the statement is made that by allowing faculty and staff to carry guns, we will make our campuses safer. So this bill is authorizing faculty and staff to carry for the express purpose of increasing safety on campus, which means they're carrying under color of state. I mean,
So you're saying your university is going to say they are your agents, even though this law says they are not?
No, the law
That's
says
fine
no.
with
amendment, we're good. It was without the amendment. The original bill left us open to the
Oh, I'm
1983 claim.
So
Now,
you
my-
are okay with this
Yes.
amendment? Your objections that you voiced were not to this amendment, it was
but
to
to
the
the
prior
original bill. And that's
Oh, okay.
we just
I'm
wanted
sorry.
you
I
to know
missed
why the amendment
Sure.
is important to us.
Very much so.
Because it cures those problems. But I think without that, I used to defend 1983 suits for the Attorney General's office, and let me tell you, there's lawyers sitting out there that would find that way to bring that case. So we didn't want that to happen. But again, with the exception that we're still working on the language about clarifying that this bill is not intended in any way to expand the waiver of sovereign immunity that the state has done in 98307, which the AG's office is working on. The amendment thus far is satisfactory, assuming it's the will of the legislature to pass the bill.
Any other questions? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Representative Peck, you're recognized.
Mr. Chairman, after hearing that compelling by the chiefs, I would make a motion to reconsider our actions on House Bill 1736.
You have to be on the prevailing side.
I'm on the morally prevailing side.
We're back in session.